Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor a dear friend of many of us and a man that many of us here admire greatly on his retirement as UAW President. I refer to Ron Gettlefinger, a great citizen, a great patriot, a great leader of labor, and a wonderful human being. Ron Gettlefinger did not want to have any recognition of his labors on behalf of working men and women and on behalf of the people at this particular time. But I think he will forgive us if we go on to say a few of the things about the respect in which he is held and why that be so. For the last 8 years, Ron Gettlefinger has led the UAW as their president, and he has done so both loyally and ably through some of the most difficult economic times facing our nation or facing the union. Through his hard work and dedication to his brothers and sisters of the UAW, we have witnessed the auto industry to right itself and to begin to come out of some of the worst times which it has confronted in its history. It is interesting to note that as the head of one of the most democratic unions in the world, Ron Gettlefinger was able to lead the union in a way which saved the industry and which enabled the industry to have negotiations about givebacks and other things, always difficult to sell to the rank and file. Elected in 2002 as international president of the UAW, Ron Gettlefinger rose through the ranks, beginning his career first as a member of the UAW Local 862 in 1964. He worked at Ford's Louisville assembly plant as a chassis line repairman. He attended Indiana University Southeast at night, and it is the workers there who first recognized Ron's extraordinary qualities and elected him to represent them. He then went to serve as Regional 3 UAW Director and UAW Vice President. Throughout his time in these roles, he fought relentlessly and tirelessly to ensure workers have the quality of life they deserve by making health care accessible and affordable to all, ensuring new jobs in industry through manufacturing of advanced technology vehicles, and addressing workers' rights provisions in fair trade agreements. He gave extraordinary leadership not just to the union and the industry, but to the country. As we have all known, Ron does not back down from a challenge. During the most difficult times in the auto industry, he worked together with the business in a very close fashion to assure the survival of the industry and the companies which the UAW had negotiated agreement with. He negotiated a new round of contracts with the Big Three, creating voluntary beneficiary associations to provide health care to retirees of the Big Three and to save huge amounts of money to the auto companies. And he was one of the leadership in not only determining that government assistance would be needed, but in seeing to it that the union's voice was heard and that the saving of the auto industry was participated in very actively by the UAW and by the members that he served. He once said of himself, "We did what we had to do to save the industry." And now, less than a year later, the auto industry is once again profitable and expanding production. In fact, Chrysler is hiring again for the first time in 10 years. Fortunately, cars from the Big Three, where the companies and the unions and their members work together, are safe and reliable, and this year have earned the highest quality ratings in J.D. Power Association's Associates annual initial quality study, beating import brands by satisfying margins. It is the workers and the members and the leaders of the UAW who have worked so hard to assure that through times of turmoil, our domestic auto industry continues to produce the best and the safest vehicles while increasing in extraordinary ways the productivity of the workplace. And at a time when union membership is at its lowest in years. He has fought relentlessly to ensure that workers who want to organize can do so. Together with his other colleagues in labor, he has advocated for the Employee Free Choice Act, for legislation which will allow workers to decide if they want to use majority sign-up to form a union, protecting them from employer coercion, well beyond the needs and the concerns of labor. He has worked for education, for health care, for a clean and wholesome environment, for the health of our young and old, and for the protection of the rights of Americans. Now, like Ron, I think our country agrees that these things are necessary and helpful. But he understands, as do many of his admirers, that labor's responsibilities and duties go far beyond the simple concerns of labor and go to seeing to it that this country is the best that we, working together, can make it be. Ron Gettlefinger and I, and most of us here, share the belief that the future success of the auto industry is going to be dependent on developing advanced batteries and electric and hybrid cars here at home, and other technologies which will enable us to compete in the savagely competitive world marketplace. He is one who has supported training workers in these technologies, not only to help the companies and the industry, but also to provide workers with continued job opportunities. And he has been there through ebbs and flows. And the one thing that you could always count on Ron Gettlefinger having was honesty, integrity, and steadfastness. Whether he was delivering good news or bad, he always dealt with the facts. It is because of his honesty and his dealings with everyone, his brothers and sisters, business management, and labor join me tonight in praising and pointing out that he has properly earned the trust, admiration, and respect of all with whom he works. Ron Gettlefinger once said, "We don't accept the nation, or rather the notion, that America is a country where a privileged few can live well, while the rest of us struggle to meet our daily expenses. We're going to fight for something better." Ron Gettlefinger, you have led a fight for something better since the first day that you entered the labor movement. And I'm glad that I was able to be your friend and partner in many of those fights. I now will yield to my good friends from Michigan and from elsewhere around the country who have a desire to express, as do I, compliments for our dear friend now retiring. I yield first to my dear friend, Congressman Dale Kildee of Michigan.